Diprivan.
Diprivan.
Okay, now let me just, I never get personal, but I had cataract surgery. They knock you out for a little while, you wake up and suddenly it's gone and you feel fine. And they gave me Diprivan.
It's a wonderful drug when used correctly.
It is used by anesthesiologists.
Right, because it's a very short-acting drug. It's very metabolized very quickly.
You go to sleep.
You go to sleep, and it's gotten rid of from the body very quickly. But
what would it be doing in someone's house?
I have no idea, and that's what doesn't make sense to me. And it's like anything. I mean, it's the danger of all these substances that are available that people can get because the very rich and the very poor, the rich and the famous can buy anything they want to buy.
Yeah, but how would you buy Diprivan?
Well, you can get it from an anesthesiologist.
But he'd have to come to your house. Would you do it in your house?
No, certainly not unless you had an anesthesiologist administering it to you. There are certain things that you have to not do. And the one thing you have to know is what you're doing with medication. And medicine is not something casually. I mean, I developed certain things in my life. Not a lot, but the sites I use Botox on and certain injectable fillers. And I mean, that's my life. And I mean, the big thing that I see is you see so many people giving Botox parties and things like this, and this makes no sense to me.
I want to talk about
medicine.
That. All right. Did Michael tell you he used Diprivan?
I knew at one point that he was using Diprivan when he was on tour in Germany. And so he was using it with an anesthesiologist to go to sleep at night. And I told him he was absolutely insane. I said, you have to understand that this drug you can't repeatedly take because what happens with narcotics, no matter what you do, you build a tolerance to them.
How could a reasonable anesthesiologist give that to someone other than prior to surgery?
Because I have to tell you, there are certain people in this world who are not reasonable. I mean, integrity in medicine.
Wouldn't you lose a license if you were giving it for other than?
It's anesthesiology. I mean, people have used everything for everything. But there are so many. I mean, let's not go get me into the topic of integrity in medicine now. Because, I mean, that's what's happening in the FDA and all the recommendations of drugs. So
are you surprised that Diprivan was found in his home, supposedly?
I am very shocked by it, but I have to tell you that it's not something that would be unheard of because I told him that this drug was very dangerous to use on a regular basis.
And what did he say when you told him?
Well, he listened to me. But
and?
You can't be absolutely sure that you're going to force anyone. I spent half a year living with heroin addicts and writing a book about my experiences when I was in medical school, when I went to England after the death of my father and brother. And what I learned from the experience is you couldn't really ever be assured that you're getting honest information from someone who's an addict.
Yeah, because they lie.
Well, they lie because they want to procure medication.
Did you ever see any IV-type equipment in his house?
Never.
Do you ever see Diprivan in his home? Do you ever see it anywhere?
No.
Associated with it?
I never did, and I also told him specifically the dangers of the Diprivan, the dangers of getting it used by someone who is not an anesthesiologist or someone very well-known.
Did he have an insomnia problem?
Not that I knew of, except that once we went on tour with him, we were in Hawaii, he couldn't get to sleep, so me and my whole office went to sleep in the room with him. So I never knew that he had a problem with sleep until this whole tour came up, or basically this problem with sleep at that time. I do know that he did certain, local anesthesia, but this is not something we discussed repeatedly, except I just got shocked. He assured me he'd stopped.
And he never asked you to administer it, did he?
No. I mean,
and you wouldn't, I guess. It's
not what I do. I'm a doctor. I'm a dermatologist. I'm not going to do these things.
There are at least 5 doctors reportedly now under investigation. Have you been contacted by any authorities, police, or anyone?
The only thing I've done is I've turned my records a long time ago to the medical examiner. I've not been contacted by the medical examination.
Nothing with regard to this?
No, sir.
Do you know anything about these doctors, supposedly?
I know there's supposed doctors. I know there's various doctors who went on tour with him. I mean, I know there were a few doctors. I specifically don't remember their names, but I think they're going to review the records and go over specifically what happens. But you have to go back historically. What happened to Kanye West's mom? Okay, what happened to his mother? She died during surgery. How many people really have this problem when they have, when they die during surgery for whatever reason is, from whether or not they have liposuction? And then they sit around with a dead person.
There are a lot of doctors practicing who shouldn't.
Well, I don't want, that's a
Would you guess?
I would say there's certainly a large number of people, I don't think it's huge, but I say a significant number of doctors who you really have to wonder what they're doing, because a lot of people have come into my field, which is minimally invasive aesthetics, because they think it's the only place they belong for untold reasons.